it's just gonna be noises made of like shifting on the chair.
That's fine.
It's like my feet are cold.
That's fine. That's a good start. That's
Okay.
beautiful noise. Well, let's just get into it. My name is An. I guess.
My name is Tung.
And we are part of Beautiful Noise.
We're missing 2 people.
Yes,
Nice.
we got 2 members that are not here with us. They're doing fine. They're alive. That's just not physically here.
Yeah, R.I.P. I'm kidding. We're missing 2 people.
Yeah.
We're missing Ling.
Yeah.
We're missing Yoon.
Yep. So in the future, we'll try to have them on. And I think there's no real. I think we discussed about this, how there's no real structure or format that we're going with this. That it will be very casual. It will just be like conversations that we'll have. Yeah, the usual conversations and banter that we would have. So I guess whenever we meet them, or whenever I meet them soon, because I will meet them soon. I will meet them soon. We'll have them and their lovely voices. But for now, it's just gonna be me and Tung or Tung.
Or Tom or Tony.
Tom. Yeah, he has many.
Or wait, what's the latest one? Thomas?
It's Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways.
Coke analog and Coke can.
Yeah, if you are, I guess if you're familiar with us through our Instagram, mine is Coke can.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's kind of funny how I started picking up that as a name now.
Like you accepted it.
Yeah, I think I've fully accepted it that I am Coke or Coke can. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's kind of funny.
People do call you that now. people do call you that, and I think your name is much more difficult to pronounce for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't like saying Tom or Tony.
Yeah, and I guess for the audience in Vietnam, I guess I'll just be known as Coke. Yeah. I'm not too interested for them to call me Dong either.
All right, so this is more or less our first episode of our podcast, our own podcast. You could call it that. We decided to just call it Beautiful Noise because that is exactly what we are doing. We're making beautiful noise.
Yeah, the purpose of this podcast was just to put, I guess, the voice, the voice of beautiful noise out there, kind of explaining what are we doing and why are we doing this, because how long has it been now? Is it almost a year yet?
Almost, yeah. It's actually been a year and 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We were formed, we formed November of last year.
Right, and so basically, the goal was, there's a goal to this whole madness.
Well, yeah, that was a goal.
Yeah, because on and from our platform, which is Instagram, nobody really knows what we're doing.
Yeah,
but they know that there's 4 people in this group.
Yeah,
and they just throwing shit out there all the time, and so.
I quite like that actually so far. I think people. I hope people are into that as well. I mean, seeing that they're following us. But yes, thank you for following us. We gotta give out thanks as well because I think. I mean, not to sound pretentious, but we're not doing this for really followers anyway. I think we're doing this. I think the reason why we started was because I think we were looking for really kind of a platform to bring us together, to post together, to be creative together. And not that we didn't have, we each had our own platform, obviously, but I think we thought it was quite fitting to put, if I could say 4 very different photographers together, right? It's like you, me, like we know each other. We met each other in Texas, and then we met Yoon and Ling in Vietnam in 2018. And I think through I spent more time with them. you spent like
Just
maybe 1 or 2 days, right?
few hours.
Few hours, right? Collectively few hours. But I think it's fair to say that we felt there was this sort of connection in how we, four of us, experience and see the world, right?
Yeah, it's definitely how we see ourselves as photographer. But at the same time, what connects us together was like our experience as Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And at the same time, not just Vietnamese, but Vietnamese who spend time abroad and then come back as well.
We're sort of expats of both countries, in a way. Like, I think when we go back to Vietnam, we're expats in Vietnam, but then we're not quite from America.
Yeah.
So we're also expats here. So I think the four of us actually are, or have been, living in both countries at one point.
Like, essentially, each one of us have, we, you know, not to be being corny, but we all have our own noises to make.
Yeah.
Like for me specifically, I saw the dynamic of photography here, and I saw the dynamic of photography in Vietnam as well. And I guess for my goal is that I feel that I want a space for myself here, and I want a space for myself in Vietnam as well. Because the whole thing with Vietnamese diaspora is like we just want some place to belong to, and then that's basically my main goal with this beautiful noise. I just want to get my voice as somebody who lived here, and then experience it in Vietnam as well.
Yeah. So we would say that Beautiful Noise, the collective, or actually, I mean, I think we chose the term collective because it was for lack of a better word, for better words. We couldn't find anything else. But I think to call it a collective is it's too big. I think it's just really four. It's four people. Officially, I think this is for the records. It's only four people. 4 friends, 4 photographers, 4 artists. And I think, like you said, I think Beautiful Noise has been sort of this island, I think, for 4 of us to kind of latch ourselves on. We all live we live in different places, but then I think in at least in the arts, we don't quite belong in like the Western, the American photography scene. We don't quite belong in the Vietnamese photography scene as well. Yeah. I think the 4 of us found that to be the common point between all of us. And so that's why we decided to have Beautiful Noise as sort of a place for us to, breathe, Yeah,
basically.
Right. And I think no one has asked us this, but I'm just going to pretend that someone did. But the meaning, I think it's quite funny how we came up with the name Beautiful Noise. This you and I know. Yeah. I don't think the Jung and Ling know about the origin of this name. Basically, it was that one balloon festival in Plano, which is a city nearby where we live in Texas, in America. And we went there for the balloons, but the balloons weren't flying. But then we found, I think the balloon was there, the actual balloon was there, but I think they were packing up. And then there was a name card that we picked up from the owner of the balloon, and it says Beautiful Noise. Yeah. We didn't even ask the owner why it was called Beautiful Noise, but it was called Beautiful Noise. And I think I thought it was quite fitting for the collective. And I think that was around October too, and then we formed the collective in November. And that's the origin of where we got the name. But then what does it mean? I think that would be a discussion if you want to get into that. Yeah, what Beautiful Noise means.
I think to me is Beautiful Noise. It's just, I think everybody encompass their own voice. Everybody have their own experience through life. Yeah. And as photographers, that's basically what we're doing is that we are expressing ourselves, and that in itself is a noise, right? And so I think everybody have their own story. Everybody have their own experience. So in that sense, like, everybody's stories is beautiful, right? And so that's what it is. It's just a beautiful noise. We want to make it. Not to say like, oh, our voice is this, but what we want is that we want to encourage people to think that their own story, their own experience is something that's worthy to put out into the world as well.
That's exactly my thought. I think the other thing that I would add is, like, why noise and not like sound or music or anything that's like clear and definitive, is that I think that there's a beauty in making noise. I think making something that is sort of unrecognizable, like it's a part of it's one part of the entire weave of things, right? When someone make noise, they're contributing noise to noise, right? There's no distinctiveness of one's voice or one's noise over the other, and I think that's actually it's quite noble in a way that we are called that, and that's what we're doing, because we're not. Yes, we stand out as individual artists, but I think essentially what we're doing is it's just that we're making noise. We're contributing noise to this entire web of stuff. It's very textured. It's very rough. It's noisy. That's kind of a sort of the adjective that we picked up between the group, that we would call things noisy. Like if we look at something that's normally we would call it, hey, that's nice. We would say, hey, that's pretty noisy, because it stands out in a way, but at the same time it doesn't stand out like a piece of art. Right. It's just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, and if you notice, through our cryptic pictures and they're very loose, and I really want to emphasize on that. Like there's no organization, there's no genre that we specify, because we really trying to convey the messages to just like accepting, and then knowing everybody's experience is valid, and so that's really is what noise is. You just want to make your noise, make it loud, and you make it so that people hear you.
And then once people hear it, I think everybody hears different things. You could have the same noise, but I think you and I would hear it differently.
Yeah.
And so everybody will then pick up that noise that you've just made differently, and then each and every one of them would then orchestrate their own noise using. So we're really just bouncing off each other, right? Like if I make a post and I. Yes, and I do like the fact that we are very cryptic with the captions and everything. But I think yes, it's part of it is just we're being edgy, and I think I quite enjoy that. It's comedic, but at the same time, it's also like it adds another layer of noise to the thing, to the post.
It's like when we take turn, adding our own picture to it. It's in a way of. Like when you scream down a cave, you hear the echoes, you hear the noises bounce back. So I think that's
but it's never the same, right? It's always a little pitch higher or lower.
Right. And what if you bounce that noise off other people, right? Just like how, like you said, you what I say, you might hear, what I mean by it, you might hear it a different way. So I think it works the same way with photography as well. What if I throw, the whole point was like, myself throwing out a picture and seeing how will other people decipher this? How will people take meaning upon those photos, and how will they, respond to those photos as well?
Yeah. And it's not just. I think photography for us isn't just doing whatever that we think is correct, or doing whatever that we think is, appropriate for the genre, quote unquote genre, that we've decided to attach ourselves to. I think for like currently what we're doing is that we're responding, right? We're reacting to each other's photography. Like if I, and this is for, I guess the viewers or the listeners or the subscribers and the followers of Beautiful Noise Collective, we that's actually how we function. I think we're gonna go with this format for another while until we think of something new. But essentially, we're like you said, we're responding to each other's images.
Yeah.
There's no set limit to how many one can post. It's really just sort of like it's like a sort of like a game where we try to when one person posts, they leave a trace, a mark of their noise. Like they leave a noise, and then the rest of us, one person, so the three of us would hear it, would look at it, would interpret it, and then we would post something that's seemingly coherent, but at the same time it's not.
It's like a game of telephone.
Basically, yeah. Like if Ling says something and she's she has this feeling that she wants to express, and it could be quite sad. But I look at it and I think it's funny or it's comedic, and then I post like a funny post, for example, or
right.
and
or
sometimes
how we interpret.
It's how we interpret, and we keep that game going. And I think that is something that, well, at least personally, I would like to, propagate onto people who are doing and practicing photography, because and this is something we could go into now is, we could discuss about how I think young people or even people our age nowadays, how they use photography, and then also for us it's just responding.
Yeah.
We make art. We don't make art. We make noise. We make noise. Yeah, that's the propaganda. We don't make art. We make noise. But yeah, we make noise to respond to each other's noise, and we contribute to this larger image, whatever it is that we're doing. So is that something that you, I guess, feel like should be pushed onto people, or do you think, and I guess we kind of have our own answer too, but do you think that Beautiful Noise should be its own entity, and we should not persuade people or convince people to do anything specifically? You should let photography grow as it is.
For me, I wouldn't say I have an agenda.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everybody have their agenda, right?
Yeah.
Or loosely. But I think for me, I don't want to force anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
It's more or less, I just want to give people an option.
Yeah.
Of saying, there's a lot of in photography that we look at, and we look at the classic stuff, like the Western stuff, like Henry, Bresson or Winogrand. All these people are legendary, right? Mm-hmm. They're top of the top, and sometimes people they get stuck. A lot of time people get stuck. Mm-hmm. They get tunnel vision, and they're like, oh, this is what it is. Yeah. This is what photography have to be, or whoever you look up to, you admire them, and then you kind of bottleneck yourself into that specific thing, and or you just put them way too highly, and then it stunt you from doing what you should doing. But I just want to remind, for people to reminder that just take the fucking picture, just take the picture and share it in a way that would be comfortable to you, however you want to, and the whole thing is just to make some noise, make something of. If you're interested in photography, make something, and whether it's tangible or something online, doesn't fucking matter. But just make something. Yeah. Loosely, you don't have to worry too much about the format, or does it look like who I admire, or does it look like the genre of where I live, anything like that.
Yeah, well, that does sound a lot like propaganda. So, I mean, it's not just for the disclaimer. I mean, do whatever you want. Obviously, I think in the history of photography, we have seen countless times where someone does something that is off the grid or against the grain, and then suddenly that becomes the trend that the next generation of photographers is doing. So we never know, right? We never know, this thing we're doing could actually be something that will be, muted in the
Yeah.
future, and it won't even be anything. But hey, we never know, right? I mean, just this is what we're doing, and if you like doing it any other way, you should. And I think part of I think most, and we just talked about this, how, like, most collectives or most groups, they have an agenda, they have something that they want to push for. There'll be a collective that is pushing for film only photography, analog only.
Yeah.
There'll be a collective where it's just like black and white only, or really all sorts of things. But I think what we're really pushing for is, I think we're pushing for freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're pushing for
that's a great way to describe this, the freedom.
Yeah, our agenda is no agenda.
Yeah.
Like, our agenda is, you shouldn't have an agenda. You should go outside. If you have a camera, you have a phone. And that's the other thing. Yeah, I'd like to mention that too, that we have no preference for formats or media, right? We multimedia, we memes are photography as well. I think iPhone is
exactly. Memes are like an essential part of street photography.
Yeah, it's essential in both in both sort of mental support for us, that whenever we
group backyard heaven, that is street photography.
Exactly. Vietnamese cursed images. Those are the best. I think people who go out there and they take these moments, these cursed images, I think they have the same same eye as us, as we do, right? Look for the oddities and the messed up shit.
Yeah, and like no filtering anything.
Yeah. And pure street. I think that's somewhat. Yeah. It's funny too, and it adds something. It adds something. It adds something to the I think the fabric of photography, and I think
just like just to drop a quote from I think it was Wintergram that said it, and then it was reverted to Lee Freilander, but basically he said just take a picture to take a picture, take a picture to see what it looks like as a picture.
Yeah.
And I see that, and that's in connection with, Takuma Nakahira, who basically he picture in its purest form, and I think that's what we want to push for as well. Like, we just want you to get out there and take pictures
and not think about, in a way, not really think about what this could be or what the whole point of it would be, right? Like, we're not out here taking pictures so that we get into exhibition or that we get books made or published, even though yes, that all those things are part of it, but we're not out there thinking that, oh yeah, this is going to be for a book, this is going to be for an exhibition, this is going to be printed for a friend. We just think purely in the sense that we are out taking pictures. And that's what we do, right? Yeah. And I think
that's a 2 point that I would say Beautiful Noises. Yeah. We want you to feel comfortable to share your experience, because like we sharing our as well. Mm-hmm. And then we also want you to just get out there and just make the picture. Don't think too much.
I think oftentimes people are. I have been approached and with questions from people, young people in Vietnam. Just in general, just asking for, like how do you get these pictures? How do you get these photos? And what, I guess, like, what do you do? Like, do you just show up at the right moment, at the right time, at the right space, at the right location? And I usually just tell them I don't remember because I don't.
Because in a sense, if you ask them, like, you show up at the right time, but if you really, really think it, you want to get like fucking philosophical about it.
I know.
You always at the right moment, right?
I know. If it's right, then it's it's right, then it's right. Right.
You are living your own experience. So if you saying the right moment, then you are living yourself, and you just taking that picture.
And even if
I wouldn't say like anybody else can take the picture.
Exactly.
Because even if I was at, we take picture all the time together, and our picture at the end of it, mine looks like mine, yours look like yours. So
we could be photographing the same thing, but then of course if the pictures come out, usually, and this happens quite often where something that you would want to select and use, I wouldn't want to do it, even though it's like very similar. But it's the fact that, but we don't think about it when we're taking pictures. I mean, of course, sometimes, we would like jokingly, I hope, push each other out the way because we're photographing the same thing. But I definitely don't think about, oh, my photo is gonna be like his, or like you definitely don't think about that. You're just there because it's like it's instinct at that point. Like you just gotta take that picture, and you do, and then I'm also there and I'm taking that picture. So I guess to answer that question with the very, I guess, sort of a pointless answer that is that I don't know or I don't remember. It doesn't help, and it frustrates a lot of people who ask me that question. But I think it's true. I mean, it just kind of, I mean, I going back to the whole agenda thing of Beautiful Noise, I think, our agenda is that we don't have an agenda. I think photography is something that we are, it's a relatively young art form, and it was a tool, and then it wasn't a tool, and then now it's back to being a tool, and then like even like screenshotting stuff is also a form of photography. Referring to Lean, of course, when I say this, because she does use various screenshots from her phone, from past conversations, and she's integrating those screenshots into her work, and I think that's actually quite beautiful. A screenshot is a picture. It is. But by all means, it is a picture. And so, now we're seeing people screenshotting memes and people screenshotting conversations from Twitter and they're posting it. And so now essentially it's back to being a tool. So I think it's fair to say that, don't think about photography as anything other than the fact that you have a camera and you're taking pictures. You're recording things, right? Recording like we are right now, recording noise, recording these moments that pass by, and then, well, what you do with those moments, that's entirely up to you.
Right. And it's also encouraged you to, because, we see a lot of great work coming out. Yeah, especially in Vietnam right now. They just had that, what is it? The 11 photographer that goes to
the Angkor?
The Angkor Photo Fest, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody on there is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, not to say anything less about them, but then, we don't want people to set them up for like some sort of grandeur, projects or whatever. And of course you can, but remember, like, the most important photos are like, you interacting with your family, or you just living your life in general, day by day. Those are, the most important photos that you can get out there. Is your own experience. You don't have to like stunt yourself and like, oh, I want to take picture of this thing's happening. You don't have to set yourself up for that. Just take it by day and enjoy yourself. And this photography is the medium, that for you to express yourself in the most sense. And I see this a lot in people who are starting to shoot, because like, what is the number one topic that people want to shoot at the beginning? They always seem like, oh, I want to go out there and shoot homeless people.
Oh, you mean like especially in street photography,
right? In street photography over here, it's like anytime that people grabs on and start to become infatuated with street photography, they want to make something, they want to make some noise, but then they dilute their own experience, and they gravitate to, what can I make the most noise of, and then they attach themselves to like this thing where they want to take picture of homeless people, which is just like crazy.
I mean, of course, not to say that you can't take pictures of homeless people, but
true.
I think at this point you can't take pictures of no more pictures. You go on Flickr and you go on to like any street photography. Flickr is dead, by the way, but a few years ago, you go on Flickr and you go on street photography, like any groups, you'll see at least 20. First scroll of that first page, you see about 20 pictures of homeless people.
Right.
I mean, I guess I understand your point, and if you look at any work of art, any series that you really love, I think the moment that we kind of, oh yeah, I want to do something like this, you are in fact diluting your own potential, and you're boxing your potential into this little box, right? Like, hey, I want to make something like this, but don't think of it like that. Just enjoy the work of art, look at it. You can learn from it, and I think we can discuss about how you learn from looking at a work of art, at a series, maybe in the second episode. I don't know how long this is gonna actually drag out, but I'm just gonna say that, and then we'll go on. We'll go on talking about how you learn from a series of pictures or a work of art. But yeah, you can learn from it, and then in a way, you kind of unlearn all that stuff, and you just grab your camera and you go outside. I think once you effectively learn something, it's ingrained into your subconscious, and that you kind of know how to kind of get that sort of feeling that you felt when you first saw that really great work of art. Just like kind of like if you imagine, for you, I know Daido is a huge, Daido Moriyama is a huge influence, but you don't imitate any of his series, right?
No.
You look at a bunch of his stuff, and you just kind of soak yourself in it. You like bathe yourself in it in a way.
Yeah.
And then you forget about it the next day, and you go out, you take pictures, and suddenly these things, they just come up naturally. But then the subjects of your work are still yours. They're still your family. They're still the people that are around you. You're not setting up the scene.
Yeah.
To make it look like Daido's work.
Yeah,
so in a way, I think that same thing with the homeless people analogy. Street photography isn't just people on the street. Isn't just literally street people. So, or anything. Portraits don't have to be all pretty and nice and clean.
Mm-hmm.
They can be portraits or anything. Portraits are just pictures of people.
Right.
The end, right? So what do you do when you have these genres attached to you? I think, first of all, detach yourself from genres.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to learn, is that you just have a camera and you just take pictures of what is nearby. I think that's always a good start.
Yeah.
That is, I kind of completely forgot about what we were talking about, actually. But I'm just going to say that's the end of my point right there.
Yeah.
So.
That's. I think we went on long enough, right? 30 minutes.
I think 30 minutes would be good for one episode.
I guess for what we're doing right now, we just want to give you, I guess, mine and An's sort of takes on what beautiful noise is.
Yeah.
And I guess to recap, we just want to make it. Basically, the point of beautiful noise was for us to, echo our own photography and bounce off each other and see, what's come out of it. And also to, I guess, to encourage people to understand that photography is a loose photography. So, it's a loose form, and we encourage you to just document your own experience, to understand that your own experience is valid, and bounce your voice out there to the world, and so that we can bounce the voice back to you.
I think that was the first segment, and I guess the second segment, still, this is a recap. We talked a little bit about what we think, I guess, our personal opinions on photography, personal photography, and how we would use beautiful noise as a platform to express, our opinions and what we think, our beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think we agreed on that. There is, our agenda is that don't have an agenda. You shouldn't have an agenda. And I think making noise in general, in a way, is not having an agenda, because noise is very chaotic. And it's everywhere, and it's not distinct. So no genre, no limiting yourself. I think it's, if you're you have a camera, if you're listening and you have a camera nearby and you got nothing else to do, just start shooting. Just start taking pictures.
Right.
Film, digital, iPhone, anything really. Screenshots, that all of those things work. I think we believe in that.
And also, everything we're saying is just opinions. So don't get too wrapped up in it. It's just opinion. If you disagree, then you disagreed, and we can just hang out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we really don't. Yeah, we really don't. If any of you disagree, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to us.
I think in a way, I think this podcast is also our way of communicating to each other.
Yeah.
Because I think, to be honest, without this, I don't think I would ever talk to you about this stuff. I mean, like, occasionally we would bring it up.
Yeah.
But it very fragmented form. But I think we've never actually had, well, not never, but haven't had.
Yeah, if you want to hear an episode of what An and I really talk about.
I mean, that is actually something that we will do. And this is just going forward. I think we don't have a host for the show. The host is just actually 4 people. But I think for now, I'll be the stand-in host. But as the host of the show, going forward, there will be a lot of content that you won't ask for, but you'll get anyway.
Maybe not even photography related.
There'll be a lot of discussions on, of course, photography, but also anything that's actually related to our photography. And I'll throw in a few sneak peeks, I guess, of a few ideas. Of course, if you follow me recently or you know me in real life, you know that I like fishing. Yeah. So, of course, I'll have an episode about me just rambling about fishing, because I think there is this connection between fishing and my photography and just photography in general. I wrote this long essay about it, but I'm just going to talk about it instead of having you read it. And of course, we'll talk about our creative process, our individual creative process. I'll try to get the other 2 on as well, and they can tell us about theirs. And of course, other banter, such as I don't know what we dislike in general, or just the things that are happening around us. Yeah,
there's a lot. It's exciting. I don't know. Exciting means it's such a positive, but there's a lot of shit happening all around the world.
Yeah. And so, I think all the shit,
don't take any of it serious.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. But at the same time, I think we're fully. Yeah, we do, and we're fully acknowledging all of those things, all of those crazy things that are happening. But at the same time, I think we're also. I mean, again, this is essentially we're absorbing the noise from the outside world, right? And I think that's also what we do here at Beautiful Noise, is that we take in whatever that's going on outside around us. Yeah, we absorb, and then we echo back in the form of photography. So of course, to kind of in a way have a little bit of a. I guess this podcast could also be seen as a demonstration of how Beautiful Noise works internally. In a way, this is kind of like our internal thoughts, and we're just speaking them out loud, essentially.
So we're not really sure how this podcast is going to shape like.
Exactly.
But, anything in numbers eventually takes shape. So eventually, we'll figure it out. But I guess to expect what's coming in the next few episodes is we get to hear from the other half.
Hopefully soon.
The better half. The better half of Beautiful Noise. We will get to hear from Ling and from Yoon. Yeah. And then if it ever goes into explaining who we are on an individualistic level, and we can do an interview type of things where I don't know if
you can interview other people, right, that are not in. But you want to interview each other.
Yeah, each other. Each other. If you're ever interested in like knowing the member of
Yeah.
I guess we should do like just an introduce.
I do tell people a lot about myself already, so I don't think people want to know about me. But sure, yeah, I think that's a good
let's
idea.
say Jung, you know, actually Jung is pretty famous. I just learned that fact.
He's pretty famous. Yeah,
but like you know, I guess me because I don't ever talk to.
I think everybody wants to interview you actually.
So I don't know. I guess like each one of us, we can just grill each other.
Yeah.
Ask each other our own.
Yeah.
You know, whatever we want to know about each other, we ask, and then you know you can just talk about it in length.
Yeah.
And that way, I can clear out the shit in my head.
Yeah. Just use this as a sort of your own like dumping ground. You're just no, I mean no offense to you know obviously our listeners if there's any, but I think this is quite beautiful. I mean you know this is essentially I think giving people a chance, giving us also a chance to obviously for us it's a chance to tell these things that maybe talk about things that we're thinking about, but you know sometimes we just don't have the right moment to say those thoughts, to express those thoughts, and also giving people a chance to you know if they are interested to know what it is that we think about, you know. I think it's fair to say that we are all like we're all actively working on something. And also, you know, collectively, the four of us, we're working on something as well.
Yeah.
But more about that later.
But about that point about you saying, you know, this isn't just for us. It's about for photographers, other photographers as well. So we do want to, you know, have other noises.
Yeah.
To come on and you know express themselves as well.
Yeah, and I think hopefully at one point. I think
when we know we're truly doing.
I don't think I look forward to knowing what we're doing. I think it's quite fun to not having an idea, not knowing, just aimlessly like screaming into the mic. I was gonna say hopefully at one point you know we would I think be able to really I think have a community. I think around Beautiful Noise I think would be good. That was never really the purpose. But I think we should look forward to that. And I think using this podcast format to kind of pull people in, I think that'd be...
Yeah, we do have some idea of what we can do on a larger scale with everybody.
Yeah, so... But I think, I think that's it for now. It's kind of abrupt, but we are reaching our time limit. So this essentially is our first episode, our first pilot episode. Any final thoughts before I end this recording?
Nah, fuck it, just end it.
Okay.